Hello, and welcome to the channel. In tonight's episode, I just came outside for a brief moment. It has been extremely hot today. I'm talking 100 degrees hot. It is probably a little after 5:30. I hope y'all can hear me. I have my fan on. It's hot. I don't know what the heat index has been, but the temperature has been hovering at a 100. It's a little after 5:30, and it is like 98, 99 degrees. And the garden needs to be harvested. I've continued to harvest many things. I have not taken you all along with me. My poor arch has seen better days. As much as I love that butterfly pea has strangled the arch on that side, and it's broken. I'm hoping that I'll be able to fix it in some way. When ooh, dragonfly, I get so distracted. I hope to be able to fix it in some way when it dies back for the season, because in many places butterfly peas are annual. But what I found is, since I buried it in the ground probably last fall, I buried what I had in the pots over there in the ground, covered it up with mulch, and then this spring I put seeds in the ground. But as I began to move the mulch back, the butterfly pea didn't die. And so I think the reason why the blue one is so prolific and so large is it's more than just what I sowed this year. It's this year's and last year's. And the white one is beginning to catch up. I don't believe the white one is going to be as large as the blue one, even though I did have the white one in that area that it is now in the pot. But it is all beginning to pick up speed. The plants are getting quite large. The loofah has begun to really take over, and I'm loving every minute of it. So, in today's episode, I am harvesting. I've been going through my kitchen and trying to make sure that my apothecary has all the things that I can harvest and dry and put in there. And so today I'm at that again. Today is, I've already harvested some basil, so I didn't take you, I'm not taking you all along with me for that. I already have that cut and on the table. I didn't have as much basil this year as I had last year, but I have one over there that has gone to seed. I'm going to let those seeds dry and harvest those seeds, because I don't think I have any more sweet basil, and I want seeds for next year. I'm hoping that it actually dropped a few seeds, so it'll come back in that pot. We'll see in the spring. So let's get into this garden and let's do some harvesting. All right, everybody. Trying not to let any flies touch me, because there's some situations going on with the flies, y'all. Lord, hope y'all know what's going on with the flies. Anyway, today I'm getting ready to get up and go and harvest my garlic chives. I like to harvest my garlic chives, dry them, grind them down, and use them as seasoning. And I have a lot of garlic chives in the garden. I've been splitting garlic chives for the better part, I want to say, of maybe 2 years. And I put even more in several of the new pots that I've created this spring and summer. So I will have even more this time next year. So it's time to harvest garlic chives. So let me take you along while I do that. I have garlic chives all over the garden. And y'all have to excuse me. I'm maneuvering as I'm walking, trying to make sure that I'm not stepping on any plants and that there is nothing in the walkways that can come out and get me, because there's always something going on, something creeping around. As I was leaving work, or actually leaving home to go to work a couple of days ago, I saw a possum in the back of the subdivision walking across the street, y'all. Let's see, I'm not gonna pull that one. And so I'm hoping that that possum doesn't find its way back over here, because yeah, I don't want it back in my garden. So excuse my shadow, but all of these containers over here have some really mature or maturing garlic chives. So we're gonna harvest those. Let me get already been cutting back the garlic chives as I was moving around in the garden trying to get back here. Of course, when gardeners see stuff, they're like, ooh, I better do that. So if you see weeds as you're moving through your garden, It's a good idea to get them when you see them because you have every intention of going back to get them. However, sometimes you may not go back right away and they can grow pretty quickly in the garden. So I was plucking weeds where the weeds come up. You all have heard me before talk about the weeds that come up in between the fence where my neighbor does not do much to his yard. And I'm constantly pulling weeds. And in between that, I sat the camera over on that side and the sun hit it and made it hot. So I had to keep working while you all cooled off. So I have been cutting back. I've gotten through 2 containers. One container, this first one you all probably can't see it, but it's right here. It has actually gone to seed, so I'm going to let it. I do want to harvest those seeds. These 2 hadn't gone to seed, so I'm pulling those. But I have a lot of garlic chives in the garden. I try to put as much perennial plants in the garden as I can. So that's one thing I don't have to worry about. I always have it. I use my garlic chives as seasoning, as I mentioned in the intro, or right after the intro, that I dehydrate all of my chives and use them as seasoning. So all I'm doing right now is chopping them down or chopping them back, not necessarily down. I'm pulling out any of the yellowing leaves. I'm trying to toss them into any one of these containers. Some of them are going on the ground, but I'm trying to use it by not throwing it away. And I will come back and pick up what I have on the ground if I feel like I really want to. Right now, I'm just trying to get through. The wind is high. Y'all know the wind is high in my area. And so all I'm doing is cleaning this up. I'm going to get this on the table and then I'm going to keep going down until I've harvested all of what you see right here. And then I have some in other areas. I will go to those areas and harvest all of those. And then I'll wash them. And then I'll show you what I'll do with them at that point. So you know how I dry, or at least one way I dry stuff. So let's get this on the table. I really need to clean up. And I'm doing that as I go, but I'm starting my fall here pretty soon. So as I mentioned, I harvested some basil, and what I throw on the ground, I pick up and I put it inside of my containers. That way it doesn't go to waste, but I just get it out of the way. The basil is beginning to wilt, so I'm going to have to hurry up and finish harvesting the garlic chives so I can wash everything off and get it in the drying rack. So let me hurry up. I hope you all can see what I'm doing. And I'm trying not to let the dead bits go to waste. I'm trying to put those in the containers. That way they rot down and continue to feed the soil. I can't remember how you know what? I do remember. I started these garlic chives from seed when I lived in North Texas, and they grew and multiplied like a weed. And I'm so glad I took the time to actually think about growing garlic chives. I've tried to grow common chives, and I have a few small plants, but that doesn't grow as readily as this one does for me. So I'll take whatever I can get. Some plants grow better in your environment than others. And if you find there's a plant that really thrives in your area, I say cultivate that and continue to grow it. Save the seed and multiply it all over your garden as best you can, because that plant is showing you that it does thrive in your area. And that's what you want. You don't want to spend all of your gardening time fretting over plants that just don't thrive for you. We have enough to think about, enough to worry about. And if we spend all of our time fretting over plants that just do not want to grow well for us, then we're just spinning our wheels. And I hate to say it, but as far as I'm concerned, my opinion, it's just a waste of our time. That's why sometimes when you all don't see me pick something back up, it's died, and I'm not going to waste my time with it. I may try that project again, but oftentimes I stick with what grows in my garden, and sometimes that could be limiting. But I live in South Texas, and I'm trying to learn South Texas again because I hadn't lived here in quite a while. So this is technically like my second South Texas garden, and it's much hotter now than it was when I lived here before. So let me finish off this plant, and I think I have one more that I can harvest off of because the other one has gone to seed, and I've got like 4 of them that are small, and I don't want to harvest off of those. I want those to get really big and bushy. So let me put this on the table, and I'll be right back. I just thought about it. I actually have some of this in my green stock, so I'll be chopping that as well because I want that to have in the kitchen. A lot of times when you are dehydrating, that's the one thing that I hear from people. They say they dehydrate and they're disappointed in their dehydrated foods because I guess maybe they didn't realize that when you dehydrate, it does shrink down, and sometimes it shrinks down so small that you only have a tiny bit of whatever it was you were trying to dehydrate. And that's one of the reasons why I grow so much of this garlic chive because it does shrink down. Your leafy greens will shrink down. So I'm just going to get the rest of this brown out of here to the best of my ability. The brown and the yellow, I have so much of it that I can afford to let some of it go. So I am just taking the tips off, just pulling them off, and I am almost done with this back here because the other plants that are back here and in the orchard area, they are small because they were just planted this spring, and I don't want to harvest off of those. I want these to grow back and give me more chives. And there was a lot of die off on the bottom. So you've got, don't forget, harvest your food, you guys. And I was waiting to harvest this. I didn't just neglect to harvest it. I was waiting on it. I wanted to make sure that I had a significant amount of it before I harvested it. And I'm just going back and taking any that I might have left behind, some of the larger bits that I didn't cut the first time around. That's all I'm doing. There we go. I have really enjoyed this season, the harvesting. I didn't have a lot of some things, but what I did have a lot of, I did have a lot of. And I didn't spend a lot of time posting it, so I have to apologize for that, or videoing it for that much. So let me put this on the table. All right, there's a last little clump back here, just a small clump. And I tell you, I wish we had smell-o-vision because this smells so lovely. And talking about smells, I've seen several people who grow onions and garlic and chives and whatnot. And it seems like the consensus for most people is they like to eat it, they like to grow it, they don't like the smell of it. But that's the one thing, or one of the reasons why I like it. I love how it smells, it's so fresh. And when I dehydrate it in the house, my family runs and like, what are you cooking? It smells so good in here. So we love the smell of it. Now, I'm not going to be out here too much longer. I feel like I might have gotten bit by a mosquito. I hope I didn't. So let's get this last little bit on the table. And I think I have one more plant in the cattle panel. And then we're going to get this cleaned up and wrap this up. I had a few more plants that I'd lost sight of in the back of the garden, in the back fence area. So I went ahead and chopped those down without you all, because you all have seen me chop them down back there already. So I am just cutting these that are in the cattle panel area. I have 2 containers in here that have the garlic chives that are ready to cut. I actually have, I think, 4, and I believe I'm going to spread some more in here in these containers when I begin to sow seeds for the fall. I think I might put some more in here from other plants. So let's go over to this last plant, and then I promise you, I am done with this chopping down. All right, you probably cannot tell. It is behind the burdock root, and the loofah is growing back this way. And so I'm going to take, hope my hat is not in the way, or my head. I'm just going to try to pull some of the dead bits out and throw them in the pots around it so that I get a little less of the dead foliage when I clip it. There's a lot of dead foliage down here along the bottom. Let's see. Let's see. And be mindful, everyone, there are always spiders in the garden. So when you're in your garden, be mindful of spiders. Okay. All right. That is it for me. That is it. That's all. And I forgot this last little bunch right here. So let me grab it. I don't want to leave that much behind. So I need this in my kitchen. So let's go and let's wash this up and get this ready to be dried. There we go. Actually, I'm just going to quickly pull the dried bits, throw them in the pots over here. I don't want the dried bits, the yellowing bits, and what I'm going to dry. And I know you have all seen this, so I won't sit here and let you watch all of it. But I do need to get that out. So I'm going to go over here, give it a little shake, see if some of it will fall. Not too much of it did. There's some on the inside. I'm just going to take all this out. And I'm not worried if I take some of the fresh out. I have so much of it that I'm not concerned about that because it can go back into the pot and feed the pot. Nothing is going to waste here. And I still have several pots that I am not harvesting because they have gone to seed and I want the seed. So let's go wash this up and get this dried. So I am at the table, and over here is where I have what I've harvested today. And I still have a little bit of the dead bits in here. And this is going to take me just a minute to wash all this up, but I'm going to rinse it up. Haven't seen any bugs, so I feel confident that rinsing it is not going to be a big deal. I have more dead in here. I didn't realize I had so much of the dead stuff in here. I'm going to pick through this quickly. And this is all part of your harvest. You know, some people say, what do you do with your harvest? How do you manage all of it? Well, a little bit at a time. Hopefully not everything is going to seed, or not everything needs to be harvested all at one time, so that you can get it and do something with it. And so that's what I've been trying to do. I've been creating new growing spaces, cleaning up, getting things ready for fall, trying to make compost, trying to keep the critters out of the garden because there's something that's digging up little spots in the ground. I think it's whatever it is. I think it's eating either the worms or the grubs or something, but it's making little, could be birds, not sure. But it is definitely getting on my nerves. So I have, let me water this. My sister gave me a plant for my birthday. I just want to give it a little bit of water. But this is my quickly wilted. Sorry, y'all. I have wine bottles on the patio because I put candles in them. I have some citronella candles that I put in the wine bottles. And so they're oftentimes sitting here and I knock them over. So I do apologize for all the noise. But I'm just going to rinse this. Let me take this back because I'm going to get this all wet. I just rinse them, pluck off any spiders, which I just saw, any leaves that don't look the best. You pluck all that off. So what I'm going to do is I try to do it one stem at a time when it comes to stuff like this. I hope you all can see. When it comes to my basil, I try to do it one stem at a time and not the entire bunch, because you could miss some things when you do it in the entire bunch. And I'm working with one hand here, so not the easiest. And I hate the fact that it's wilted, but I can't do anything about that. It's so hot here, and I just harvested this not long ago before I turned the camera on, so it really shouldn't be wilted this bad, but it is. So I'm just going to spray it off, and I'm going to do the same thing to the garlic chives. Spray it off, pull any leaves off that I don't want to have dried. Make sure there are no spiders, no bugs. You do all that, and you probably think I'm throwing it on the floor or the ground, but I'm not. I have a what do you call that thing? A thermos, not a thermos, but the thing you keep a cooler. I have a cooler down there, and I'm throwing the leaves on top of the cooler, so I hope you all can see. So I'm going to finish this up, rinsing, pulling off leaves, and I'm going to take you guys to where I am saving this to dry it. So let me do that. Let me rinse this last one off, and then I will take you over and I'll show you where I'm saving all of this so that it can dry. Now I don't let it dry wringing wet. I fling it off. That way I get some of that water out of it. That way it's not going in there wet and it's not molding, because it is definitely wet. I shake it off. Just like that. All right, let's go and let's set this up for drying. And I'm going to do this same thing for everything that's on the table. Welcome to inside of my shed. This is my drying rack. I have had this rack for several years, probably about 4 years, maybe 5. And I just recently opened it up and hung it up, and I have begun to use it. So it is in the shed, and all I do is I do exactly what I showed you all. I harvest whatever I'm drying, I rinse it off, I shake it off to get some of that water out, and I put it inside of here. My door is closing, so I want you all to be able to see. And I put it inside of here and let it dry. I've been harvesting different things. Right now, I've got butterfly peas. I need to put this inside the house and harvest more. I harvested mullein. I harvested comfrey. I harvested, I can't think of the name of that. It's a weed, but it's a very good weed. If I can think of it, I'll put it in the description box and let you know, because I have that growing in my garden. So I've harvested a tiny bit of that. But this is where I am drying all of my herbs for right now. And when the weather turns cold and I can't dry here, I'll take everything in the house and dry it inside the dehydrator. But for right now, it's hanging in here and it's drying well. And I'm going to show you this. Let me back up and I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, this is the rack. It goes all the way up to the ceiling. So I've got plenty of space to dry all kinds of herbs. So let me get at what I'm doing and I'll be right back. Alrighty. So I have finished washing the basil, which is at the bottom, and the 3 trays of garlic chives, and I'm going to let them sit in here for about a week or 2, maybe longer. Let them dry completely, and then I'll get them in the house and blend it down for seasonings and for the basil for cooking or teas or whatever else I choose to use it for. And the herb or the root or the weed was lamb's quarter. That's what I have growing in my tire garden that I did not plant there. And I've been harvesting little bits and pieces of that as well. All right. I have a lot more left to harvest. Still have not gotten to my lemongrass, my butterfly pea. Nope. But I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to do it often. And today was garlic chives and a little bit of basil that I had in the garden, and that's enough. It is in the high 90s. It is probably 6 o'clock. It is 6:54, and I am hot and I'm ready to go in. So the rest will have to happen in the morning. I did hit a couple of plants with some water, but I've got to go in and get some water. So I hope you all enjoyed today's small harvest. Just know that no matter what season you find yourself in, be that in your garden or in your life, just keep moving forward. All you got to do is try to keep moving forward, whatever that looks like for you. And it's not always easy, but we got to keep trying. We can't give up. If things look bad in the garden, if things look bad in life, we got to keep doing our best to move forward. It's late August. Next week is September. We are supposed to get some cooler temperatures. And what that means for South Texas is it's going to go into the 80s, mid to high 80s. And so I should be able to start sowing some fall seeds. I should be able to have the vast majority of what I need to harvest harvested, knowing that stuff is still coming in, but I'll be able to start sowing those cool weather crops because I didn't want anything to bolt. I need to plant more collard greens, more all the brassicas. And my plants are looking a little worse for the wear, some of them, because it's still very hot. And it's not always easy to give them everything they need. I don't have shade all over my entire garden. I wish I did. I wish I had a dome that I could put over sections of my garden and protect those when I'm not home. That's what I wish. Well, all right, everybody. Let me get out of La La Land and get in the house. The wind is picking up. It looks like it's going to rain, but I feel like the weather people have decided to not predict the weather in a way that's accurate because it looks like rain. It's looked like rain for a couple of days, but we've had nothing but cloudy and hot and wind. That's all we've had. I could do for a little bit of rain, just a little bit. The garden could really use some rain. I could really use some rain in my rain barrels. A lot of my rain buckets over in the cut flower garden and the memorial garden, they really could use some rainwater. They are dry as a bone. I still have some in the rain barrels, but I just don't have enough rainwater. So, all right, everybody, let me get in the house. Thank you very much for joining me in the garden today. I hope you learned something. I hope that you are harvesting. I hope that you are sowing if you can. I hope that your garden is everything you wished for it to be and more. And if you can start a fall garden, I highly recommend that you do. Be that outside if you can, because I know many of you grow in areas where you get snow. So think about how you can maybe grow inside your garage in a pop-up greenhouse like I have in my garage with all the things, maybe inside your home somewhere. I don't know, but grow something. Bye for now. Oh yeah, hit that like button, share the video, leave me a comment, and tell me if you're growing any chives in your garden. So until then, bye for now. And I've already said it, but I'm going to say it again. Grow something.